Okay, there we go. Making sure everything's together. Okay, we live now. All right. I think the thumbnail didn't show, but basically, all right. So I was gonna actually go through the process of, having a picture. There was a picture of a mine, and I see if I can put this on the screen. But there was a picture of a mine that I found, and I was gonna show that picture and show how I was piecing the puzzles. I looked at it. I don't think too many people seen that, but I'm gonna try to find a picture anyway and put it up on the screen and talk about that before I actually go into the broadcast and just get an overall understanding. Because like I said, people gotta find themselves, know who they are, know what they're doing, and take on that. Okay. All right. So share screen. And I will be sharing this one. All right, there we go. Shout out to everybody that's coming in. And basically, shout out to everybody that's coming in. All right, so basically, this is what we're going to be talking about. And for those who know, I always talk about knowledge of self and gaining understanding. Um, Lisa and 23J, if y'all can, could you see who the next person in the live-a-thon? Because I was kind of confused on the if I was to split 30 minutes with someone else or what, and to kind of give me a overall view of, I guess, who's supposed to be next. Let's see. Okay, Lisa, you're stuff. Okay, trying to make sure. Okay, all right. So basically, yeah, just show me who's next on the live-a-thon so we can actually, keep it going. But just like it says in the, picture, self knowledge is the beginning of self improvement. And going from that, I always talk about this because you got to be a better you, and today being Easter Sunday, I mean, we can go from a biblical term from knowledge itself that, you know, the sacrifice, the greater good for not only yourself, but, doing things with a purpose, as Jesus sacrificed himself, and this was the only way to, save an abundance of people, is only right that, he found that within himself, you know, to help. I mean, it's just like a father in the house that, sacrificed his mind, body, and soul to, provide for his family. It's like a mother in the house that sacrificed her mind, body, and soul to provide for the family, as well. Take on responsibilities, you know, to the upkeep of the house, the upkeep of the kids, the man as well. So when it comes down to it, a lot of us having an understanding of knowledge of self, working together, being there for one another. Like, how many of us have the, you know, direct, feel within ourselves to overcome obstacles? A lot of us don't, share this knowledge with others because, for one, it's actually hidden because you don't know it. You know, how would you know you have knowledge of self and, you know, actually CSAP. Yeah, how would you even know you have knowledge yourself and you're not even, putting forth the efforts? A lot of people, I always say drop your channels when you come in here, so people can check you out. I do a lot of promoting people channels. I sit there and I say that it's up to you. I'll sit here and I'll go ahead and promote your channel. I'll let people know about your channel, but mainly your content is going to hold, ground. A lot of people don't understand that I can, push your channel to the algorithms. I can push your channel, you know, but in the words of Alonzo Hall, if it's evergreen content, people are going to follow due to your content. If it's not evergreen content to where people can't, accept it of whomever or whatever, they're not going to actually, you know, like your content. So I can only provide that, I share the content. If it's something I like, if it's something I think people should, look up and see, it's up to them, and it all depends on the crowd, you know. But getting back into it though, all the way down, um, we're gonna go back into the whole knowledge of self. You have to have an understanding with you. You have to sit here and make sure, what you have a knowledge of self, you're understanding the do's, the don'ts, the obstacles that, hinder you or help you in life. A lot of people fail in that because, you know, few people have, talks with self. Few people, engaging, making themselves better. I have a video I'm about to get ready to show, but it speaks to that. For a lot of people, we don't take the steps in actually, being a better us. You know, we have situations that, we have to follow, the herd mentality. We're not gaining more, knowledge in life to learn these, new things that we're going to be better in life, whether it be male or female. We're not accepting all the roles in which, and responsibility that we have. You know, we hear the saying, as men, oh, men don't take care of their kids. Men have to be, have that purpose in themselves to be responsible. Same thing for the women. Women majority have all the kids, but the way the child is being raised, it all developed on the mother's responsibility and being a provider. Because if the man is not there, then the woman has to be that greatest provider, to fill that gap. We can have women who have kids and they're horrible at raising them. They're horrible at being there for them, showing them the way. You know, there's a lot of pitfalls, but there's a lot of knowledge and gain that you can also provide. You know, and co-parenting and being there for one another and also for the child. That's the greater good. Setting aside your differences between whatever mean you have is for our child. We can fight and fuss on the regular, but when it comes to the kids, let's find a common ground. That's how it's supposed to be. That's the true knowledge of self. When it comes down to it, I don't want to have my child go through a situation in which I went to before, or condemn my child and their legacy and their generation to come due to my stubbornness, whether it be male or female. So that's when you gain that knowledge of self and you have a great understanding of what's to be had, for the future of your child, and put aside your differences and knowing that, you and yourself is going to, things for the greater good. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this video. Let's see if I can pull it up. Boom. There. And oh, let's see. I'll go back to doing this on a laptop, so I actually got there, there, right there, share, and drop that down. All right, so we good. Now, like I said, shout out to everybody that's coming in the building. We're gonna go ahead and play this video right quick. And let me know if you can hear, put a 1 in the chat when you actually hear the video start.
Many of us are wandering the earth, accomplished in many ways, capable of fulfillment at many points, but with a fundamental wound that stops us from becoming who we truly might be. We don't quite know who
Can you guys hear the video?
It isn't, of course, that we can't remember the basics of our biographies. We're unsure around two things in particular. Firstly, we don't have a stable sense of what we're worth. And secondly, we don't have a secure hold on our own values or judgments. Without knowing who we are, we tend to have particular trouble coping with either denigration or adulation. If other people decide that we are worthless or bad, there will be nothing inside us to prevent us from swallowing their verdicts in their entirety, however wrong-headed, extreme, or unkind these might be. We'll be helpless before the court of public opinion. We'll always be asking other people what we deserve before seeking inside for an answer. Lacking an independent verdict, we also stand to be unnaturally hungry for external praise. The clapping of an audience will matter to us far more than would ever be wise. We'll be prey to rushing towards whatever idea or activity the crowd happens to love. We'll laugh at jokes that aren't funny, uncritically accept undeserving concepts that are in vogue, and neglect our truer talents for easy, popular wins. We'll trail public opinion slavishly, constantly checking the world's whims rather than consulting an inner barometer in order to know what we should want, feel, and value. We need to be kind on ourselves. No one is born with an independent ability to know who they are. We learn to have an identity because, if we're blessed, in our early years, someone else takes the trouble to study us with immense fairness, attention, and kindness, and then plays us back to us in a way that makes sense and that we can later emulate. They give us the beginning of a true portrait of our identity, which we can then take on and enrich over the years and use as a defense against the distorting verdicts from hurried or ill-intentioned others. Knowing who one is really the legacy of having been known properly by somebody else at the start. This early identity building tends to unfold with apparently innocuous but life-saving small steps. "Ooh, that must really have hurt," a parent might say in response to an upset, thereby validating an infant's own feelings. Or, "It's okay not to feel happy on your birthday," the parent might say at another point, delicately upholding an infant's less typical response to certain events. Ideally, the child isn't just known, he or she is also interpreted as likable. A good parent offers generous interpretations. They're on the side of the child and are always ready to put the best possible gloss on moments of ill temper or of failure, which forms the basis upon which resilient self-esteem can then later emerge. Now, that's the ideal, but it can, of course, go very wrong, and often does. A parent may offer mirroring that is out of sync with the reality of the child. "Look, who's such a happy little boy or girl?" a parent might insist, when actually the opposite is clearly the case, thereby badly scrambling the child's ability to connect with their own emotions. Or the parent might only lend the child a very harsh, punitive way of interpreting itself, repeatedly suggesting that the child is ill-intentioned or no good. Or the parent may simply not show very much interest in the child, focusing themselves elsewhere, so that the child grows up with a feeling that not only is it not worth cherishing, but also, because it hasn't been adequately seen and mirrored, that it doesn't even quite exist. A feeling of unreality is the direct consequence of emotional neglect. Realizing that we lack a stable identity is a sobering realization, but we can, with a fair wind, start to correct the problem at any point. We need to seek out the help of a wise and kindly other person, perhaps a good psychotherapist, someone who can study us closely, mirror us properly, and then validate what they see. Through their eyes, we can learn to study, perhaps for the first time, how we really feel and take seriously what we actually want. We can, by being witnessed generously, more often learn to take our own sides and feel increasingly solid inside, trusting ourselves more than we trust the crowd, feeling that we might be able to say no, not always swaying in the wind, and feeling that we are in possession of some of the ultimate important truths about us. Having come to know ourselves like this, we will be a little less hungry for praise, a little less worried by opposition, and a lot more original in our thinking. We will have learned the vital art of both knowing and befriending who we really are.
Our Know Yourself cards can help us to better understand the deepest, most elusive aspects of ourselves. Follow the link now to learn more.
Yeah, so basically, just
There's a
self-explanatory.
big government scandal going on that you need to know about it.
So just self-explanatory, just things that you're dealing with in life, having an understanding that, you can get through them. It's quite easy. But it hurts a lot of people because they don't know how to. You know, I always talk about, the aspect of money and everything just to give people understanding. When it comes down to money, you have to be knowledgeable about it, know how to use it, you know, knowledgeable about the money that you have in your pocket. So when you have more money, you'll be able to use it properly. That's the first step, having a budget, mortgage with me. I watch her channel a lot because she talks about finance. She talks about budgeting. She talks seriously about paying her house off, how she's moving towards the goal of paying her house off. And when it comes down to it, having an understanding that things that you have in your life, to a certain extent, you have control over. Situations to a degree, you have control over those as well. If you want that job, you go out there and, be the best person with to get that job. You shouldn't have no problems. Of course, you might not get that, but if you give it your best and have an understanding that you've done the best you can do, there's nothing else more you can do. And a lot of people fail to realize that, you give it your all, then that's the best you could do. There's nothing more you can do with that situation. Now it comes to a point, if you don't get the job, then hey, there's other jobs out there. Make it your mission to see what you did that time to do it better on the next one, you know. And it could be just to an extent that somebody just, hey, I'd rather go ahead and go with somebody else. It's not no shy towards you. It could be a family member or friend that was destined to get that job and they had to go through the process of, dealing with people. A lot of people take things harsh sometimes, and when it comes down to it, mainly a lot of people don't understand that people do things for a reason. There was a situation that this lady had at her job, she talked to me about, and she was saying she really wanted this supervisor position, but because she had missed one day or so, hey, Dovey, could you put the next person that comes up next so I can make sure I have them in here? But when it came down to it with her job, she was on the expectation that she qualified for the supervisor position. And when they was talking about having it open up because one of the supervisors was leaving. But in all honesty, I laughed at the situation when she gave me the breakdown. They basically catered the whole supervisor position for one person. And she was off by, I think it was 0.5 not to get that position. Not to get the position, she was off by 0.5. I guess on the attendance. So she couldn't get the position because she had, 0.5 over the requirement. Everything else she qualified for. It just that 0.5. And it was funny because I told her, I said they actually catered that qualifications for that person. And she was like, "You think?" I said, "I guarantee they did." I say, and then furthermore, she kept saying, "Well, there's a lot of people was telling the lady to get the job. She didn't want to get it because she didn't want it. She didn't want the position." And even what management was telling her about getting the position as well. So a lot of them kind of forced her into the point to try to, apply for a position that she didn't want. And actually, boom, she got it. She was so happy about it, better pay, I guess more vacation time or whatever. But it was to the point that the position was for nobody else but that person. And it was just crazy how, they did it. But to everybody else, they didn't know. They just thought they didn't qualify, And me sitting here just listening to the conversation, seeing how everything went out, it further let me knew that, okay, yeah. So yeah, they, like I said, they had the position just strictly for that person. Same thing with, going to apply for certain jobs. It's this great job down here that I want to get. And the warehouse, I really don't like doing warehouse jobs because me being a driver, it's like you're self-employed, you're working for yourself, dealing with yourself. But to have an understanding that when it comes down to it, I mean, geesh, this job is awesome. I mean, truly awesome. Yeah, so the job is truly, truly awesome. And I mean, qualifying is hard, but I, figure out the qualifications that when it came down to it, it wasn't nothing that I was doing wrong because I gave them all, I did everything right. It's just their qualifications on that job. So when it came to the qualifications on that job, they had certain stipulations that they wanted to do. And it was just crazy. And I was like, man, I really wanted this position to, be better for me and last, but wasn't working. Wasn't gonna happen. But I took it in stride and found me another job and everything was cool for that. So, when it come down to it, like I said, knowledge yourself. I didn't, get mad or have issues, to an extent. It was, displeased that I didn't get the position that I wanted. But overall, I'm like, wow, still. End up getting a, decent job that was, pretty decent and took me forth. I'm not gonna hold myself in regard to things that, that are in the past that I literally have no control over, and having that knowledge itself is not to, hold myself to the fire to the point where it hurts me, inside. And having an understanding that me being a better man by just moving forward and, going through the process, a lot of people don't understand that's key. Even with being women, me and my wife, we have our conversations all the time in regards to our family structure. How are we going to live life, how things are going to, be for the kids, what is the process in which, we want to be rich. That's one thing. A lot of people don't talk that out, with the knowledge itself, your limitations. And to gain things, you have to have an understanding. You have to have a plan. They say if you don't plan, you plan to fail. And that's the biggest thing. That knowledge itself puts you in that mind frame to say, I want things, to go forth in my life to be better. So I have to, strive to be better and do what's required. See, what is this going to be? 10. Okay. So when it comes down to it, a lot of us, we don't have the conversations, with our families and friends, to overcome. Man, I gotta holler at you. Arthur, man, I ain't seen you in a minute, man. I gotta give you a call, man. I gotta give you a call. But yeah, we haven't worked with each other, far as family about that bond of working together. That's the biggest issue with a lot of us, family members, friends, and the craziness of it. I always say this when it comes down to the community of people in general, family, the biggest community starts with starts with yourself. You have to reach out and be a part of, the community. So if you're not doing the community work and building and working with you, then how can you build a, bigger and greater, you know? So when it comes down to it, a lot of us, we're not working with each other because we don't trust each other. The selfish mentality, that knowledge itself will put you in a mind frame of know who you're working with, know who you can deal with, have an understanding that when you're finishing up things, in life, it's a process of taking care of. Okay. Now just making sure I was reading these as they were coming up. All right. So, basically when it comes down to it, like I keep pushing this knowledge of self, you know, building a community and building a family starts with the intact of you. First you are the bigger component in this. Take everybody else. You can have millionaires, you can have people of high regard, celebrities and all that. It starts with you first. You're the greater good. If nobody understands, you're the piece in the puzzle. That's the biggest component. You. A lot of people say, well, that person's better than me because they're rich, or that person's better than me because they're a celebrity. You have to have that, self motivation. It starts with you. I talked about this yesterday. I was going to actually do a video about it, to where if I don't, have that self motivation to work out, I'll stream myself. Well, I don't even know if I'm gonna drop the video since I'm talking about it now, but I might do still. But I struggle now with losing weight because I'm not motivating myself as much. I'm sitting here doing other things, researching, working, this and that. And I say, well, I'm pushing myself to where I don't have time. I sit there and have cheat dates. I'm losing the battle because I'm doing everything that I normally don't do to lose my weight. I remember, I think I got to 250 and I said that, man, that's big. I'm gonna have to lose some weight. Then I used to wrestle in high school. So the first thing I did was said, okay, well, I know what to do. I used to wrestle in high school. This is a process for me that I'm familiar with. So the first thing I did, I said, boom, I'm finna go ahead. I'm finna cut out all the bread, cut out sugars, no sodas, no drinks. I don't drink sodas like that anyway. So it wasn't a problem for me. Then turned around and I said, boom, I'm gonna go ahead, cut out the bread, cut out everything. I'm just gonna stick to bake the broil, no fried. I'm gonna do my vegetables and I'm gonna do like a mild workout. Just basic calisthenics, jumping jacks, push-ups, sit-ups. And when it came down to it, boom, out of nowhere, it happened. Just start losing the weight. I lost 30 pounds easily, and that's with me not even working out hard. The only thing that deals with me now, trying to, play the system, having a cheat day. I'm like, okay, I figured it out. I'm doing everything that I'm trying to, push into what everybody else do. They said, well, you can have a cheat day. When I do my work, when I do my losing weight, I don't have cheat days. I can't follow that manuscript of everybody else. I have to follow the manuscript of me. So when I start following the manuscript of me, then I start doing better for myself because I'm like, okay, I'm not cheating at all. I'm gonna go ahead and just stick to the old me, doing this job, doing it well, not having no issues. Boom, I'm good, So going into the next mind frame, working out. You know, I'm getting older, so I'm gonna have to work out a little bit harder. You know, I can't sit here and say, well, you know, I'm just gonna do like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I went and bought a bike. You know, shout out to Shannon Ross here on YouTube. You know, this guy has an awesome channel. You know, sitting here talking about being a better you. He has a lot of inspirational videos. He actually reads books on his channel. Right now, I think he's doing yoga. I was supposed to be in that, you know, trying to look at that. But I'm gonna get on there right after I do this live. You know, the spindle class, he encouraged me to get a bike. I actually got a bike in my living room now. I work on it from time to time. I have my boys, they sit there and watch watch movies, and they say, well, this is a smart thing. I'm working out and I'm watching a movie, you know, laughing about it and stuff. But the mindset of them looking at me doing stuff and taking on that. So like we were having a discussion the other day, and I was talking to some guys, and I told them about being married at 25. And that whole knowledge of self, to like I told them, I knew what I want out of life. I was mature for my age. And the guy was saying most guys don't, you know, find that knowledge of self until they're, you know, their 30s, mid 30s. You know, you were ahead of the curve because you knew there were some things that you wanted out of life. You wanted an intact family, you wanted kids. And so, you know, you position yourself to be that way, you know, get into that mind frame. And I told him, yes, you know, when it came down to it, that was my biggest concern of having an intact family, you know. So that knowledge that I possess from the elders, you know, because that's the best way to gain the knowledge. Your elders have been through this, you know, the old people. I laugh and joke with the elders, the older guys. And, you know, me and Gold Professor, we have our talks and everything in this space about me, you know, joking, calling him the old man. But at the same time, I like talking to the man because, you know, the knowledge that he has and me having an understanding about him and the way he, you know, said moves and, you know, deal with things, I can respect that. I truly can respect that, you know, if he's right or if he's wrong. We sit there and have our discussions, and there's no, you know, no breakdown in the end. You know, we both sit there, we say, okay, I understand your point. I respect your thought. Even if you're wrong or even if you're right, I respect your thought because that's your opinion. That's my opinion. You know, in a conversation, it's not my point to let you know that you're wrong to, you know, cause damage to you and to make you feel bad. My point is to give you an understanding, you know, and that's with him as well. And we understand that. So, you know, there's no shot towards each other and being a bad person. So every time we have our conversations, it's mainly centered around us working together to have an understanding. And that's what I keep trying to get other people to follow that same notion. You know, even with us working together in the communities, it takes us having a level of trust for each other. A lot of people, social media has put them in the mind frame of an I mentality. And having that I mentality, you know, it puts you to the point where a lot of people don't trust each other. You know, you've seen other people do you wrong. I was sitting here talking to one of my friends the other day, and basically we was having an understanding that it was somebody wanting to move. And I told him, I said, man, I don't do moving like that no more. I move a little piece here and there, but I do other things inside business and hustles that I got going on, in which that's what I do. And he was like, oh, okay. So, you know, somebody that moves, because the two people that we know, that they're one of them just came back off vacation. The other one truck is messed up. So he found somebody else that could do it. And, you know, I guess that's the connection that we have down here. I know mostly in Atlanta, certain people we deal with. If you're a good friend or a good family member or, you know, somebody that you know of that's good, we'll tend to work with each other. Hey, go work with this person. Go work with that person. You know, when I was towing cars, guy I know, truck went out. He said, she know how to, you know, tow cars. So call him up. Got his car, towed at his house. Another guy needed a pickup truck move, called me. I told that guy's pickup truck. You know, a lot of the times when I do business, it's word of mouth to the point where I really didn't have to advertise my work to people. You know, when I did little other side hustles, it was word of mouth, you know, and that's how we worked and built the community, you know, of networking of friends. I know a great electrician. When people need some work done in the house, I talk to them. I know a guy that's a good painter. I tell people about them. You know, I do a little bit of plumbing. I work it out when people call me, you know, with the issues. You know, that community stand, you know, for one, having knowledge of self, knowing that, you know, if I can't do the work, I'm going to outsource it. And then if I do the work with the intent of, you know, having an understanding, I can always call somebody else that can, you know, help me, give me some pointers. You know, it was one time I was doing some electric work and I ended up calling the guy and I said, hey, man, I have a job I'm doing now, man. And, you know, there's some, you know, situations about doing some wiring. I don't know how to do that. He was like, well, you know, first of all, you gotta, you know, check the wires, you know, gold. I think it said it was gold and black and green and white. Those are the wire combinations for the negative and the positive to do outlets. Because I was actually installing a customer 2 outlets, a vent to where they can, you know, actually put their cords that's into the wall and the cable cord that was right there. It was a 4-slot outlet that I put right there. So I had to cut the hole, make it bigger. And I was actually installing a, what do you call that? One of those fireplaces, electric fireplaces. So instead of her having it actually just sit out from the wall, I actually cut a hole and framed it into the wall. And so when I cut a hole and framed it into the wall, looked like it was actually made, you know, right there. She had one of those big ones as well. So it looked real perfect. Then she had the ones with the lights and stuff like that, all the air blow back, you know, so wasn't an issue. Then I actually built her some shelves and everything around it as well. You know, little carpenter handy savvy and everything. But, you know, it was just me having that little knowledge that helped me out with that guy, you know. And if you're confident on doing things, you know, let me pull up this video right quick and just play it over again just a little bit towards the end. Because if you're confident in having, you know, some things, it can help you in life. And that's the point with a lot of people not being confident in certain things that they can do with for themselves or in themselves. So that would be a big reason why a lot of people can't move forth in life trying to, you know, fix processes and things in their life because it's hard for them to have an understanding. You know, if you don't have the knowledge, somebody giving you, you know, the knowledge on as you're growing up to stay on task with things. Okay, there. Yeah. Trying to hook y'all back up. All right. Boom. And put a 1 in the chat. Tell me if you can hear this again. It's gonna be a quick one. I'm not gonna try to play the whole thing again. Just I want to get right back towards the end.
Is really the legacy of having been known properly by somebody else at the start. This early identity building tends to unfold with apparently innocuous but life-saving small steps. Oh, that must really have hurt, a parent might say in response to an upset, thereby validating an infant's own feelings. Or, it's okay not to feel happy on your birthday, the parent might say at another point, delicately upholding an infant's less typical response to certain events. Ideally, the child isn't just known, he or she is also interpreted as likable. A good parent offers generous interpretations. They're on the side of the child and are always ready to put the best possible gloss on moments of ill temper or of failure, which forms the basis upon which resilient self-esteem can then later emerge. Now, that's the ideal, but it can, of course, go very wrong and often does. A parent may offer mirroring that is out of sync with the reality of the child. Look, who's such a happy little boy or girl? A parent might insist, when actually the opposite is clearly the case, thereby badly scrambling the child's ability to connect with their own emotions. Or the parent might only lend the child a very harsh, punitive way of interpreting itself, repeatedly suggesting that the child is ill-intentioned or no good. Or the parent may simply not show very much interest in the child.
And basically, I wanted to get to that. That's what I was talking about earlier about your parents, being an influence in your life. And a lot of people, to an extent, we grew up with either great parents or parents that wasn't so great, And I always speak to this saying that when you turn 18, you're responsible for yourself. You know, whether you still stay at your parents' house or you leave, go to college, go to the military, you know, you're responsible for yourself. So you literally have to have an understanding that, you know, you're held responsible no matter what your parent did to you. You can erase all that at 18 and start gaining the knowledge for yourself. Start having an understanding that, you know, you can overcome obstacles. You really can overcome obstacles. When it comes down to it, a lot of people, they're pushed in a different direction in life because of the path they took being a young person. But once you start gaining, like, I would say in middle school, that's when I started developing, that the way I want to live my life wasn't the way, some people would try to, push me in that direction. Love my grandmother, but she wanted me to become a doctor. That wasn't my path. So at that age, I knew, the reference of kids want to become doctors, lawyers, police officers, and all that stuff. I like design. I like drawing. I wanted to become an artist. But the biggest thing of being an artist, a lot of them, they're not recognized when I started doing my research until they mainly were dead. That was the biggest thing that held me back from trying to become an artist. And, the biggest thing with me being an artist, I was looking into that, saying if I really wanted to truly be an artist, there were some things that, had to change for, that career. So that's when I wanted to get into, the fashion, design and stuff like that, because I could draw real well. I was, pretty dapper myself. I like, dressing well, looking well, buying my clothes. And especially when I got to a certain age, I could buy what I want. If I wanted to buy Gucci, I bought Gucci. If I wanted to buy Louis, I bought Louis. But, I bought catered to my pocket because I wasn't trying to go broke to, look this fashionable way. But at the same time, it was an understanding that, in that career. So I took on the knowledge young, and seeing the path in which everybody wanted me to do. I stayed on my books. I knew that, me having the knowledge with, dealing in math, science, social studies, history, like all that stuff was going to help me be a better artist. But to an extent, like I said, as I became 18, I started dealing with men that helped me become a better me. Even when I got married, I always tell the story that I talked to my uncles. I still talk to my coaches to this day. 39 years old, and I still have a connect with my coaches from high school that, I can either do something for them or they can do something for me. These men are family men, family oriented in their kids' lives, being around their family. So I can always reach out to them for a little guidance. They helped me along the way throughout my life. Like I said, I'm still in contact with these guys. my uncles that I have. I can reach out and talk to them, you know. And when it come down to it, it was always to the point that I can put myself in a better light because I had men around me that can guide me a little better, that can, tell me, the results, and they've lived it. Experience is the key to life. You know, if I go and butt my head the same way my uncle did, it's because I didn't seek the knowledge or listen to him. You know, if someone see me going down a path they went down, it's within them to tell me don't take that path because it's full of, treacherous roads and being tormented. I don't want that for my life. So when it comes down to it, I'm gonna seek that knowledge of a, elder or somebody that, has a greater knowledge than me. Even with the women in my family and friends, they told me about different things to look for in women, if I want to get married. I remember I was a young guy, and this stuck with me all the way ever since I was a kid. I think I was probably in the 6th grade, and a lady told me, she was like, "You're a handsome young man. You're gonna go far in life. But one thing I always remember: pick your wife not just on the presence of her beauty, but the relationship y'all have with each other." And she said the common goal when picking that type of woman, not saying that you have to go all out for her beauty, but make sure there's somebody that you don't have to gnaw your arm off in the morning before you get out of bed with her. And, I laughed at that, and I'll say, "Oh, so basically telling me don't pick an ugly woman." And she said, "No, I'm basically telling you pick a woman, that's, right for you." And, basically I say, "Yeah, you telling me don't get an ugly woman." But, it was funny. It stuck with me all the way to be an adult that, having a woman that, works with me and we be together, we have a mission, especially with us having kids, the mission of, having the family intact, having the family together. And that's something I, really truly like, me having the information in the process to me being a better person, Let me put a little bit of this more of this video, break this, and then we're going to go ahead and get ready to get up out of here. Alonzo Hall is next in the live-a-thon. Shout out to Alonzo, and I hope he's ready. I'm going to go ahead and hold for probably about 5 minutes after 10 and to see if he's ready. If not, I'll keep going on in the process.
Focusing themselves elsewhere, so that the child grows up with a feeling that not only is it not worth cherishing, but also because it hasn't been adequately seen and mirrored, that it doesn't even quite exist. A feeling of unreality is the direct consequence of emotional neglect. Realizing that we lack a stable identity is a sobering realization, but we can, with a fair wind, start to correct the problem at any point. We need to seek out the help of a wise and kindly other person, perhaps a good psychotherapist, someone who can study us closely, mirror us properly, and then validate what they see.
And you hear them when they say wise counsel. That was the thing with me too, like I was always talking about. Seeking that wise counsel, came up to the elders. That was my wise counsel. Having the elders, working with them. Therapists are great. Their job is, to help the people. But, like I said, that wise counsel from the elders, it helped a whole lot. Helped me guide my life, and just with a purpose. So let me go ahead and finish this up, and we're going to go ahead and keep it going.
Through their eyes, we can learn to study, perhaps for the first time, how we really feel and take seriously what we actually want. We can, by being witnessed generously, more often learn to take our own sides and feel increasingly solid inside, trusting ourselves more than we trust the crowd, feeling that we might be able to say no, not always swaying in the wind, and feeling that we are in possession of some of the ultimate important truths about us. Having come to know ourselves like this, we will be a little less hungry for praise, a little less worried by opposition, and a lot more original in our thinking, we will have learned the vital art of both knowing and befriending who we really are.
Our Know Yourself.
All right, so basically, when it comes down to Alonzo is next in the live-a-thon, but when it comes down to it, a lot of people got to have this motivation to do better for self. Having an understanding the things that they're going through in life, is temporarily only if you get yourself out of that situation. That there's something called a generational curse. And a lot of people go through that generational curse because, no one taught them to better themselves and to, overcome obstacles and everything. And so with them overcoming obstacles, it's helping them to be a better person, and that's the key, having the motivation to do things, whether someone's helping you or not, having your family members that really care about you, or, just, footing the bill of you, we're going to take whatever it takes to get this person to break this cycle or this curse within the family. And Nicer, I was on a channel with, and a YouTuber by the name of Nicer said that one of their family members, one of her friends was talking to a person and said, okay, sorry about that. I had a text. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, Nicer was sharing this information and was saying that when it come down to it, the friend said that they broke the family curse. It ended with them. So they were having, struggles and situations in their lives. And they said, breaking the family curse, it ended with them. And I was like, that spoke power that, there was a situation that was going on in your life. And throughout, you broke the curse to, the process of you being a better you, because you didn't steadfast and stay the course of everybody keep doing the same thing. And it looks like I'm going to be a little more, shout out to Alonzo. And I'm going to go ahead and deal with a little bit of insurance as well, because I think I'm going to break up a little bit of my time with his. So I'm going to stay on a little bit more Adobe. And, like I said, the whole process of knowledge itself, it breaks down the generations. If my dad was, a truck driver, I can own a trucking business, because it's always told that your kids should be better than you. There's no way even if my son was a truck driver, he'll own his own he'll own his own truck, or he'll make more money than me. He should make more money than me. There's no reason why my son in the process is not making more than me due to generational evolution. You should be putting your kids in a position to win. Like I said, I always big up Alonzo. Shout out to him. I got life insurance through him as well, and I also got life insurance for my boys. I'm trying to put them in the position to win at all costs, and the only way I can do that is to have, them at a point to where they can succeed. And having them succeed in life is basically predicated on them, having the money. That's the biggest asset, is the money. They can have all the knowledge in the world and they can go forth, move on in life, but they also going to need that money for the next step, and a lot of us forget that. I was just talking to one of my friends, he's a truck driver, and I was telling him, what did I just do? Okay, there you go. Yeah, I was talking to one of my friends, he was a truck driver, and we was having a conversation, and I told him, I said, you got life insurance, right? He said, yeah, man, I know you've been telling me about getting this life insurance, man. I'm gonna look at getting some life insurance, but I don't really need it because I don't have a family. It's just me. Guy's about 40 some years old, in his late 40s. And I'm like, you're gonna die, right? And he started laughing. He was like, yeah, everybody die. I'm like, yeah, but to the point that everybody dies, say you. I mean, you just gonna sit here and you're gonna have your family, just fork out all this money for you? Like, what's the biggest thing for you? Not even, taking care of yourself in that matter. And what you start leaving the money right here for the family, start leaving the money for the kids and everything, in which, you have a situation that you can, move forward, and doing that, you're not leaving a burden to your family. You're technically not leaving a burden to your family, and a lot of people fail to realize that when you're dealing with the life insurance process, even if you want to leave a little extra money, I told him, I said, man, you make enough money in 1 month that just in 1 week alone, the guy makes, I think 1 week he made about $4,500. But he has so many different business and things going for itself. He's like, well, the money's still relocated to, paying for the truck note, paying for the gas. The insurance is expensive for truckers. I said, okay, cool. And I say, what else do you need to do? And there's other things. But he said, I got money set aside that I can do this insurance, but I don't really think I need it. I said, why not? Even with your nieces and nephews, I said, you can leave money for them. I met his cousin. His cousin, got 2 kids, boy and a girl. Awesome little kids, man. They real smart, go to a private school, everything. And I told him, I said, why not leave a little money for them as well? And he was like, yeah, I never really thought about it like that. And I told him, I said, when it comes down to it, man, you got to have that money that's available for, not only for your death or the next generation, because that's the biggest thing that I always keep talking about with this knowledge of self. Nobody's looking at the next generation. Nobody's looking at how the next generation of young men and women are going to, impact society. We're not putting money aside to guide them. We're not sitting here and giving more knowledge. Back in the day, that was the one thing that you can get from your parents, if anything, was the knowledge. And I was on a panel the other day and the guys were talking about it. I think it was the Gen X's. When the Gen X's were coming along, the knowledge started breaking down with the Gen X's. They didn't really give as much to the millennials. And the millennials in return didn't give next to the Z's. So it was like the cycle that was going crazy, man. And a lot of people fail to realize about the knowledge is the key. I say this a lot. I can give my kids $1 million upon me dying. And if they don't have the knowledge into how to use that money, how good is it? Yeah, I mean, just don't have the, the money, then how good is it? Overall, what's going to happen? We give our kids $1 million with no knowledge. What's the first thing they're going to do? We heard the songs. I woke up in a new Bugatti. I mean, it's funny, future song, but they could just spend the money on things, that has no understanding. They literally have no understanding, about this stuff. So, when it comes down to it, they lack that. You know, the biggest part of a lot of people not being able to focus. And if you want them to actually come up now, I'll go ahead and, give another 5-10 minutes, and then they can go ahead and come up. And we can also share the link to where everybody can go over there. And shout out to everybody that's coming in. We're actually in the live-a-thon. And far as with the live-a-thon, there's a group of people that are on YouTube, and we're all, sharing, information, and says it best. It's a live-a-thon, getting in on the live-a-thon. Everybody's working with each other, and, so forth. But, basically back to what I was saying with the knowledge, and you're right, Bunny Rose, going into it with your kids, your grandkids, they're the future. I can give them money all day, but the knowledge is far more greater and advanced than the money, because once I give them the information, then they can go make more money. They could do better in life. The old proverb saying is, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach a man to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime. There's a lot of people not being able to eat for a lifetime because the lack of knowledge. I could tell my son about real estate. I could tell my son about, delivery, working with his hands, any job that I do, showing him how to do it well, show him a good, honest pay, and working hard and providing, showing them how to save money, showing them how to budget. That's why I do a lot of these budgeting videos, is to, impact my knowledge and also give my knowledge down to my kids, because shout out to Alonzo with evergreen content. He always say this: with the evergreen content that you have, there's going to be more and more people that follow. There's going to be more and more people that follow, that have the discussion. They're going to need some understanding. What path should they take? How to get into, investing, how to get into real estate. Seeking the knowledge is not a problem nowadays. That's why I keep trying to let people have an understanding. There is no problem in getting the knowledge nowadays because it's not in the book. It's over the internet. The access is way more easier now. And, when it comes down to it, the lack of knowledge that we're facing in the community is because it's not being passed on. That's where you gain more self-knowledge. When you get information from family members and friends, professionals, and they boost your knowledge, until you do that to the next generation. I'm teaching my kids now about crypto. As they get up, I'm trying to get them invested into it now, to where they'll be more, savvy with it. I see kids that are 13 or 14 years old invested in the NFTs. They're making millions upon millions in the NFT market. you know, just in general. All right. This will be the next person to come up in the live-a-thon. Old Village. But, having that knowledge of self, that's the biggest key. And I try to push that to a lot of people, having that to a lot of people that have an understanding, figuring the things out in life, and a lot of people don't understand. There's certain things you want to figure out in life, and having that is, the key. Okay. I'm actually struggling trying to, get my updates together. All right. So basically, when you being in a situation to where, you can improve things in your life and making your life better, being around the people that's going to help you, overcome obstacles, being around people that's going to, impact your life to make it better, not worse. And even if somebody, deals in a situation like that, I keep saying, by the time you turn 18, you should be more deemed responsible into making yourself be better. There's no other way you can still blame your parents for the lack of knowledge when everything is online for you. All right. So when it comes down to it, I really, trying to look at people having understanding that, you hold your future no matter what your parents did to you, no matter what people told you in your life. You make your life better. You start your own journey for yourself. At 18, you're deemed responsible for your life. If something occurs, lack of knowledge, you can blame your parents. But at 18, if you do something at 18, you go to jail. Your parents don't go to jail. Anything younger than that, to an extent, the kids, they it falls on the parents. But a lot of people don't understand. It falls on you. Oh, go back. It falls on you being the adult in the matter. So a lot of people fail to understand that. All right. And shout out to everybody that's coming in. But like I said, it falls on you. You can't sit here and blame your parents for the situation that goes on in your life. You have to sit here and adjust yourself and say, I'm not going to go through the fire with this person. I'm not going to get caught up in a situation with this person. I'm going to do better. I'm going to be better. All right. So I'm still waiting on the next person in the live-a-thon to go live, but like I said, you do better, you be better by the knowledge and having an understanding. A lot of people, we lack the knowledge because we don't seek it. I had a friend, I was talking to him, and basically it came to a situation where his dad was heavy into real estate. And it came down, I was telling him, Lisa, is the next person ready in the live-a-thon? I have everything set up, just waiting on them to drop their link. But with a family member, and I was telling them, he was having a situation with his father, and his father was sitting here talking to him about him, doing things in his life, and he was trying to say that his father never really, kind of had him prepped or, been into a situation where he had a better outcome. And I stung him when I told him, I said, well, your dad was in real estate, this and that. And he was like, yeah. He said, he never taught me this. I said, well, did you ever ask? And it shook him, because he never asked his dad to teach him real estate. His dad owned about 12 houses, his dad owned two business, and he was a pastor. And I asked him the biggest thing: did you ever ask your dad? He's like, he was around his dad all the time. So I said, why you wasn't soaking up the knowledge then? Why you didn't ask him how you do that? How you get this house? Or you got all these people giving you money. Where do you get your money from, Dad? And he said, dang, I never really thought about doing it. And the craziest thing that threw him off was, he met his own demise for his own self. And I basically told him, I said, man, that was you, Okay. Yeah. So I told him, I said, man, that was you. You sit here and trying to blame your father for a situation that, you had, you know, you was to the point where you wasn't being available to seek the knowledge. And what most parents, they're only gonna give you what you can, hold. I'm not gonna tell my son how to, shoot a gun and I see he's scared to touch him. I'm going to tell him about him. I'm going to work with him, get him out of that fear. But, I'm not giving a scared person a gun. That's a lot of power in their hand. Why would I give somebody some knowledge and they're not ready for it? That's like the biggest thing when we deal with this and have these discussions. He if he wasn't ready, he's just not ready. If he don't have the power, he literally just don't have the power, because where's the motivation? Where's the, things that can keep him whole, make him be, available? Nobody's taught it to him, or her. She doesn't know her worth. She doesn't know that she can strive to be better in life. She don't have to settle. Just like with men, I always say this a lot. When it comes down to it, I show much greatness for the men. I show much greatness for the women, because together with both of us making it work, we can strive to have better men in society, but if we don't have better women in society, how's it going to be an even playing field? And that comes from the knowledge itself. I teach my daughter about her, picking a good man. I teach my daughter about her, having value for herself. She already grew up with that from her mother. She already grew up with it from her mother. She hold herself in high regard, to a point where people can say, yeah, she's kind of uppity or snooty or something like that. No, you know your worth. Knowledge itself. You're not going to take anything less. Whatever you want, you go out there and get it. See, that's the point that which people don't understand. And when it comes down to it, the better course is you having that understanding that helps you within that purpose, that helps you guiding to be a better you. A lot of people fail to realize that, and so that's why, they kind of tend to lose out in life, because, nobody's giving them that guidance. Everything that they're learning is on the fly. Okay. So everything that they're learning is technically on the fly. And when they're learning this stuff on the fly, what's the process? What's the process on the fly in which they can, be a better person? What are the things that they can uphold for them, gaining more notoriety in their lives, if their lack of knowledge is, limited? That's why you go out here and seek the knowledge to be better and to do better. Seeking that knowledge is key. A lot of people fail to realize that. Like I said, to the extent there's no excuse, really no excuse. Everything is put in front of us now that we can, do better for our lives. Everything is put in front of us, it's on the computer. We're on these laptops every day. We're on these phones. And I always say, You know, having an understanding of yourself and having an understanding of the knowledge that, you know, you hold for yourself is by doing the research. You know, people actually getting down to the point to where they can, you know, do better for themselves. You got to do the research. The project. All this week I was talking about buying houses. A lot of people, you know, take advantage of that. The courses, that a lot of things that I talked about with buying a house, I talked about how do you qualify. I talked about the series of having, you know, uh, the VA loans, the procedures about having 20% down on a conventional loan. I talked about all that for people to gain knowledge to say, okay, when it comes to the understanding, yeah, like I say, no excuses. Everybody has a cell phone. Everybody, if you can do a TikTok and if you can do a video of this, then it should be no reason why you can't. Okay, let me see. Okay, so is he live now? Yep, he's live. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and close out with this. You know, like I said, there's no excuses right now. You know, a lot of people looking into buying houses. Look at the process. Let me see if I can grab this real quick and throw it up to where people can see it. I mean, just plain and simple. You know, having the knowledge, knowing what you need. You know, the process on buying a house, the process in which, you know, you get yourself available is key. And a lot of people are lacking in that because, you know, they're not putting in the work. They're not finding that information that's helping them. Oh, which one is? Oh, this is my old channel. Yeah, I will do that. Okay, let me type it in. All right. I see I'm going live right now. People are starting to move over there. So everybody get ready to go to the link in the description over here. I think his name is Mo Village. Let me go ahead and pull that channel back up. Boom. And shout out to Dr. Dunbar. Big discussions in the building, science and technology. I want to say that's a great channel to get into, especially for the kids and all. Yeah, Mo's live now. Okay. Let me drop the link. I'm going to drop the link for his channel. But yeah, like I said, everybody go over there. You know, once again, shout out to Dr. Dunbar. I always got to push him because, you know, with him in the field of technology, he's always trying to get, you know, the youth and, you know, somewhat of the older people. It's not too late. You know, if you go to college right now at 40 and graduate 4 years from now, you'll be 44. You know, I heard this pastor say, a guy told him that. He said, well, I don't want to go to college. Don't you know, I'm 40. By the time I graduate, I'll be 44 years old. And the pastor asked him, well, how old would you be if you don't graduate? I mean, if you don't go to college, you'll be the same age. It's just different in knowledge. So, you know, I always say shout out to Dr. Dunbar for giving the knowledge, you know. So let me go ahead and make sure this link is up here for everybody to follow. Finna go over here to Mo Village channel. All right, there you go. There's link. It's in the chat still. I'm about to actually go over here myself. Boom, boom. All right, just sub to his channel. All right, and I'm over here. Right there. All right. And like I said, until next time, you know, everybody go over here and hit the link that's in the chat right now. I'm gonna give you about 2 or 3 more minutes because I see people still ain't rolled in over there. So giving a few minutes for everybody to start rolling over. But you know, I said gain knowledge yourself, having an understanding of what you want to do, you know. And to the degree you'll make the moves and, you know, live life peacefully, man. Until next time, like always, we here, you know, and like best, we gone.